Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh,
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny, the show that always compliments pets when they make a big stretch. This is Trevin.
And I am Amanda, and today we are joined by a podcast host who shares immersive tales that are equal parts soothing and terrifying. Although her stories are designed for drowsiness, this leading lady is quite the opposite of a snooze fest. Please help us in welcoming Shelby Novak, the magical voice and host of Scare You to Sleep podcast.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, and did you want to, at this point, go ahead and share a little bit about your show with everyone? I know I kind of did a little bit.
You covered it really well, actually. I should hire you to do some of my editorial stuff. I'm not very good at putting the show in an eggshell. I'm so long-winded.
No, I got you. Trevin and I can be long-winded too at times, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we all got into the business of talking. So
True.
So true.
But yeah, I mean, it's this show where I read scary stories. It started out just fictional horror, like short stories. And now I do a little bit of everything. I do true story episodes. I do these things called dark Reddits where I read creepy things from Reddit. It's called Scare You to Sleep because it initially was for you to fall asleep to, but it's kind of found a whole other audience of people who don't sleep to it. So don't let the name fool you. You can listen to it whenever you want. No rules.
You can be very much awake while listening if you'd like. Yes.
Yes.
I love that. I was telling Trevin, I listened to one of your recent episodes and I was like, I'm going to listen to this at nighttime just to get like the vibe. Like, would I be a person that would be scared to sleep? And I'm notoriously on our show known to be the scaredy cat. Trevin's more into horror stuff. I get really scared easily. And I was like, I'm going to try this out. And I immediately was terrified. But
really? Oh, that's a high compliment. Thank you.
But I have to say that your voice is so soothing in the evening time.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I mean, it is during the day as well.
I'll take all the compliments. I'm just going to soak these up. My head is going to not even fit into the screen by the end of this. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Do all of you have a dreadful dilemma for this week? Trevin, would you like to start us off?
Sure, I'll start us off. With my intro about animals stretching, I wanted to give a pet dilemma since it seems like it's been a while since I've had one. I have my tortie cat. Her name is Harvey. We call her Baby Harv in the house. She is known in our Facebook group and to all of our listeners as the girl who pees on the stairs.
Yes.
Still to this day, one side of our stairs is lined with aluminum foil because that is the side of the steps that she wants to pee on.
It's true.
We actually did take it up not too long ago to see if it was like something she just kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
And she didn't. She got right back on it. So this time I want to bring up her because she has a smelly anus.
Oh, Lordy.
I mean, that is a dilemma.
It is a major dilemma because she has, I guess it's a thing that it doesn't happen to all cats, but you know how certain dogs have to have their anal glands expressed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, she needs to have that as a cat.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
She will get so backed up sometimes that this stink will just kind of radiate from her.
No.
Oh, no.
If she comes and cuddles with you and you don't realize it, she'll come and just leave it somewhere on a blanket.
Oh, no.
It's awful.
So what do you guys do for that? There's not like cat groomer people to help you with that, right?
So we take her to the vet and the vet will actually do it.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
The first time we took her, we didn't know that this was the thing. He was like, oh, let me just see here. He said it needed to be done so bad that the juice had like shot completely across the room.
You know, I can see why we have like a veterinarian shortage and why it's hard to get people to become and stay veterinarian.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Truly, Trevin, you are really scaring vets left and right from the field with the anal juice story. Holy hell.
And he said that it made the whole room just smell terrible.
Oh,
Awesome.
no.
Awesome.
I can vouch for Harvey, even though she's the cat of yours, Trevin, that has not let me into her heart as easily as the other ones. She's very beautiful, very cute, very cuddly, and very soft. But that sucks that she's so smelly.
Yeah.
She's just like the Smelly Cat song.
Do you have any pets, Shelby?
Yes, I have a cat.
Oh, okay. But no stinky butt gland problem?
No butt gland problem so far. She's still young. There's still time. Now I have another thing to add to my list of anxieties about what could happen. So
Oh, Trevin, you're scaring us all.
I didn't even know it was possible.
Wow. Well, I also have a dreadful dilemma. Mine isn't going to take very long. I was telling Trevin, I was like, oh, yeah, my dilemma's pretty short. I basically just want you guys to be like, the audacity. And he's like, oh, I can do that. So this happened probably a couple months back. My family's gone on a couple trips over the summer break. And we were still in the Midwest area. I honestly cannot remember exactly where we were along the road. And my oldest daughter had to stop and go to the bathroom. So we stopped at a Quick Trip. We went in, and it was one of those Quick Trips. I think maybe all the bathrooms are the same, where there's two stalls. There's the bigger stall and a little one, right?
mm-hmm.
The small one, weirdly, 2 adults went into that one.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, that's weird. And then so me and my daughter went into the large one, and she was taking a while. You know, she was a little like, what do they call it? I don't know, potty shy?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, public place. She's never been there. She's like, what's going on? So I was trying to encourage her along, and now she's 6, right? So she's like, okay, I'm trying. Little did I know, there was a line building up inside the women's restroom. I didn't know that the 2 adults were still in there. I really still to this day don't know what was going on in there. But as I'm like, okay, baby, you can do this. Like, let's get back on the road. Someone in the line was like, hey, we're waiting out here in line and we gotta go too. And like, this has never,
Oh my God.
no, you guys, this has never in my life happened to me. And I was just like, sorry, I have a little one in here and she's just taking a minute. And she's like, that's fine and all, but we're all out here in this line waiting. And I was just like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's definitely going to help how pee shy she is. That's great.
Yeah.
Right?
That's going to help.
Oh my God.
Thank you, kind stranger. My daughter will never pee in a public restroom ever again. Thank you. Thank you for
No,
that.
seriously. And so me and my daughter just looking at each other like wide-eyed. And I'm just like, okay, are you going to go? And she finally did. We walked out. The small stall still had its door shut. Okay. So this was not all on us. And we walked through this line of shame where they were all just kind of looking at us. And it was so uncomfortable. And we just like quickly washed our hands and got out of there.
The audacity. Yeah.
Thank you. I was like, has this happened to anyone else? This seems a little much.
It's embarrassing enough when it's one of those restrooms where it's just one, like there's no stalls. It's just the one room and someone knocks, and even politely because they're just checking.
Right.
Even that's kind of mortifying because you have to be like, someone's in here. And like, but for someone to fully be like, hey, hurry up. Like, oh God. Because I was like your daughter. I was a little pee shy when I was a kid. So this would have ruined me. I completely empathize with you and with her in that moment. Fully.
Thank you. I was like, I don't know if this is a common thing, but I mean, I've been around for 33 years and I don't think I not once have ever in a gas station been like, hey, hurry up in there already.
No.
I mean, never. It just really blew my mind, especially because my voice projecting out was not aggressive.
Yeah.
And I was explaining that I had a kid, and they still were like, we don't give a damn. Trevin, is it like that in the men's restroom?
No, I wouldn't say it's usually too bad.
Men have more options though, because they have the urinals and the stall.
The urinals, the stalls, the sink if we have to, the trash can if you're a rebel, you know.
Oh!
Outside in a bush.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the world is your toilet.
It really is.
That's just the American way.
So you've never been like rushed though, like in a men's restroom. Like no one's ever been like, get out of here, man. I really have to tinkle.
Well, people don't usually yell at somebody when they're standing at a urinal. That's kind of weird, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
You don't have the anonymity. You have to look them in the eye and be like, hurry up.
That's true.
And a woman, if you're sitting on the toilet, you're in less of a defensive stance. So it's easier to stand above you and yell at you and say, hurry it up in there.
Yeah. A guy at a urinal can just turn and punch you.
Yeah.
So
Now, maybe somebody who is like taking a number 2, perhaps they could be yelled at, but I don't do that in public, so I don't get yelled at like that.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure that that was like a little much.
The audacity.
yes, the audacity.
Okay, Shelby, what is your dreadful dilemma this week?
So mine is line etiquette at stores. So I was recently at IKEA, and it's IKEA. It's like an asylum in there. I live near the Burbank IKEA, which is, I think it's the biggest IKEA in the country, at least when it was first built. It's its own city in there. It's madness. Literally, every time you go in, you see people who are like, I don't know how to get out of here. They have all these signs for shortcuts to get out that'll take you down little hallways. Honestly, it makes me a little nervous because I'm like, if there was a fire, what do? We just die amongst the fake little bedrooms and things. Just choose one, lay there like the old people in the Titanic and accept your fate.
Yeah, you climb and jump out a window just to fall into a hallway and you're still inside.
Also, there are no windows. It's like a casino. You don't know what time it is. You can't see the outside. It's horrifying.
No, that's so true. That is so true. I haven't been into an IKEA in a very long time, but we do have one here in Kansas City. And I'm sure it doesn't compare to yours, but even our small one, there's been times where I've been in there and I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Where's the exit? I just have to go this long ass one way.
Yeah, that was a joke years ago, even when only the smaller ones existed. And now this monstrosity was built. It literally has its own street, IKEA Way.
No.
Like, I'm not kidding. It has its own street. It's massive. So I was at the self-checkout. I was buying some little like patio furniture for my patio because I finally have a patio at my new place. And I was like so excited. And it was like so many line etiquette infractions happened in one moment. One of the self-checkout things, this guy was checking out his items and he just left mid-checkout. Don't know where he went. He was on the phone, just decided to go take a phone call. The poor kid who was probably 19 at most, who was running the self-checkout, was confused, going to move his items. The guy comes back, starts screaming at him, is just like, I was on the phone, as if you can just go take your phone call, leave the self-checkout. So they also...
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they also had half the self-checkout roped off. They had the ropes set up, and I think it was to control the line so he could just say, like, you go there in one line instead of 2 lines. I understood the whole thing. So I'm about to go. Yeah. I was next. And this entire family of like 10 just moves the rope and shoves past and goes to the open thing that I was literally walking towards with my big cart. You know, you got a big cart full of furniture. Walking towards it, they just like shove in front of me, look at me as if I dare you to say anything. We know what we did because we had to move the like divider thing. We moved it and we are cutting in front of you and you better not fucking say a thing to me. Oh my God, can I curse on this show? I didn't even think about it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, you definitely can.
Okay. So again, this poor 19-year-old is just like, you know, like skinny as a beanpole kid. And he like goes up to them and I could tell he's trying to say something and like gesturing towards me kind of like she was next. And they start yelling at him. And I'm like trying to signal with my hands, like, don't worry about it. I don't want to fight these people. You don't want to fight these people. They look like they're going to fight. Like they had that look about them. Like we will fight you. And so in this moment too, there was a woman behind me who was doing the thing where she was way too close to me the whole time. So in the few seconds where I had started to walk forward and then they cut me off. So then I had to move back so I wasn't in the way. Well, she had gotten right behind me. Literally my entire back slammed into this woman because she was so close to me. And I stepped on her toes. I was wearing tennis shoes. She was wearing open-toed shoes. And I fully stepped and crushed her toes, which honestly, this is so bad, but I didn't feel that bad about because she was like on me. Like I feel her breathing on me the whole time we had been in line.
Oh my God.
Again, multiple infractions through this whole thing where I'm like, we need to start handing out yellow and red cards like they do in soccer for lines, I swear. And again, the poor frantic kid at the front who was just like, this is like my third day and it's my first job and I don't know what to do. And I didn't realize people were so terrible. Like you could see him getting lessons in life all in that one little 30-minute point of time. It was so bad.
I wonder if he's going to come back.
I know.
I feel like if I was that age, I'd be like, there's a lot of places out here hiring right now. I do not need to deal with this.
I couldn't imagine.
And also, the family of 10, okay? Like, that's terrifying. They already are united. Like, their family, they're one. Like, they are ready to fight each other's battles. I can see why you would be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
They like looked at everyone in the line like, we're going to do this and you better not say anything. You could tell they all spoke to each other and were like, we are not waiting in this line. We're going through the barrier. And sent one of the kids to pull up the barrier. Because, of course, they're not going to do it. They send one of the little ones up to pull the barrier down.
Oh, they're like, well, this little one just doesn't know what they're doing. We just had to follow him as good parents.
Exactly. And the only part of the interaction I could hear was the kid had said something to the family. And I heard a woman go, well, we're already here. So...
Wow. They deserve a ticket. We need red flags, yellow flags. We need them all.
Those people are serious about Swedish furniture.
Yeah, it makes them go mad. It's crazy.
Well, I guess we could use this to transition into our game.
Yes.
Yes.
Are we ready for that, everyone?
Definitely.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Trevin, we do not have the rights to say that.
Let's have a fun time.
We have made a game specifically for you and your expertise.
Expertise.
Yes. This game is titled Petty Nightmares, and it is a game about sleepy criminals that are sure to keep you up at night. We will give you a true petty crime scenario and ask a question with multiple choice answers, and we'll see how many you get right. We have 5 of them.
Sweet. This is exciting.
Trevin, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I can start if you want.
Okay.
So for question number 1 of the Petty Nightmares. In June of 2012, Chiayi City in Taiwan pressed charges of breaking and entering against a man known as Chin. He was caught scaling a mansion's perimeter wall, taking advantage of the homeowner's absence during supper time. When apprehended, Chin appeared to come out of a sleepwalking trance, saying what to the officers? Is it A, strange, however did I get here? B, that was one hell of a sleeping pill? Or C, am I dreaming?
Ooh, I'm going to go with A.
And you are 1 for 1 so far.
Good job. Correct.
So yes, the correct answer is A, strange, however did I get here? Police later stated that Chin repeatedly rang the doorbell to make sure no one was home, then scaled the high walls surrounding the mansion. Chin used a screwdriver, hammer, and other tools he bought with him to break in. They also said Chin appeared in a daze when he was caught. Chin explained to them that he had suffered from sleepwalking disorder and in no way was he deliberately breaking into the manor. He then immediately bolted, was caught again, and subdued by officers.
Wow. I mean, what does it hurt? Try to use that as an excuse, you know?
Oh, there's a few of them on this list. Spoiler alert, but a lot of people do use it, and it's really crazy to me. I didn't realize how common this was. Okay, so you got question 1 correct. I'll go ahead and go on with question number 2. On a night in November 2023, a couple living in Chinese province of Yunnan went to sleep in their bed. The wife was startled awake by loud snoring, but thought it was their neighbor. Realizing the snores were louder and inside of the house, how long did it take her to get up and investigate? A, 2 hours, B, 15 minutes, or C, 40 minutes?
I'm going to go with C, just middle of the road.
Uh-oh.
You really are a sleeping professional, okay? Because yes, the correct answer is C, 40 minutes. So, allegedly, the culprit, which in the articles that I found, he was only called Yang, and it said Yang by surname, initially entered the home to burglarize it. But he was surprised that the homeowners had not fallen asleep yet. He waited until the homeowners went to bed in a different room and dozed off after smoking a cigarette. Later in the evening, the female homeowner was startled by loud snoring. 40 minutes later, she realized the snoring was inside the house and went to see where it was coming from. She was startled to find a stranger sleeping on the floor in another room. Without making a noise, she left the room, informed her family, and contacted the police, who took the man into custody.
Did they not smell him smoking a cigarette in the other room?
Yeah, I thought that was going to play a part in it somehow.
Maybe they're smokers too, you know?
That's very true. Because, yeah, in my mind, I was like, smoking a cigarette, I feel like maybe that had a reason why she woke up too. Because she's like, what is that?
Yeah.
And she heard the loud snores. The whole thing was wild to
Again,
me,
maybe
though.
they're smokers too. So it
Yeah.
wasn't a big deal.
40 minutes, though. Is that how long you guys would wait? If you heard snoring and you're like, that's in my house. How long would you wait? What would you do?
I mean, I guess that depends. This woman didn't live alone already, correct?
Yeah,
Because if she
right.
lives alone, oh, well, I guess she thought it was the neighbor.
Yeah, it was a couple that lived there together.
I would be a little bit frozen by fear. And maybe the 40 minutes was her like, how do I go about this? Where exactly is it coming from? I think 40 minutes might be maybe a little longer than I'd take, but probably about, I think I would take about 40 minutes. I could see that.
Yeah, 30 to 40.
Just laying there kind of formulating a plan. This person's clearly asleep, so maybe I have some time, you know?
Right, that's true. First, you're just trying to talk yourself into it. Is this actually happening? Then you have to
Yeah.
build up the confidence. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because you got to rule out, like, is this the refrigerator? You know, like, am I hearing something weird? Like, that's honestly my first thought would be like, am I hearing like a machine? What is this, you know?
That's true. All right, Trevin, you want to go on to question 3?
Absolutely. Question 3. In May of 2023, Martinez, Georgia man, Rhett Solomon, claimed sleepwalking as his defense for what? Is it A, stealing gum from a gas station, B, standing naked in front of a neighbor's house, or C, leading the police on a slow car chase?
I'm going to go with B.
Is this rigged? You are correct. Oh my God.
Wow, the sleep podcast. I knew it. I told you.
I feel like that would be like a pervert thing to do. You just go stand naked in front of your neighbor's house because you just got the urge. And then what do you say?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How did I get here?
Right.
Same as the first guy. Strange. How did I get here? You know?
Yeah, you're already in a cartoon situation. You might as well just see if a cartoon way out can help you.
I can see his
That's
thinking
true.
like, well, I sleep naked, officer. So clearly that's why I would be out here, not for other reasons.
According to the jail report, Rhett told cops that he must have been sleepwalking when he showed up naked in front of a neighbor's house. He was later arrested and booked with no official charges listed. The suspect's wife did submit a statement in his defense, saying that Rhett's psychiatrist changed his meds 1 month ago and it caused major sleepwalking problems.
I mean,
I guess.
you know, you hear about people on Ambien and they'll eat like full meals in their kitchen and don't remember. So not to like give this guy too much credit. I don't know him. He could still be a pervert, but meds do weird stuff. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I know when I had to put that in there because I was like, okay, I guess his partner's vouching for him. Because, yeah, my first reaction was like, creep,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? But who knows? He could still very well be one. I think you're on a roll, or is she heating up? Where are we at on that? I
She
don't
went
know.
3. NBA Jam rules would say she's on fire already.
Oh, you're on fire. Okay. So this brings us to question number 4. On February 14th, 2024, in Missoula, Montana, police department officers were dispatched to Yoke's Fresh Market grocery store for a report of a theft and trespassing. A male, later identified as 35-year-old Jake Dornick, had previously been removed from the location for similar issues. When authorities arrived on scene to escort Jake, he was asleep at a table at the front of the store. What stolen goods were on the table next to him? Was it A, an empty box of wine, B, 10 Snickers bars, or C, a box of condoms?
Wow. Oh, I don't know. So I'm going to go with, I guess, the most obvious A, an empty box of wine.
Yes! Oh my God! The correct answer is A, an empty box of wine. According to court documents, a Yolks employee reported that Dornick was asleep at a table at the front of the store with a box of wine on the table with him. The officer picked up the wine box and it was empty. Another employee showed the officer surveillance video. Dornick is observed going to a wine aisle, selecting 2 yellow boxes of wine and concealing one in his coat. Hey. Foreshadowing, you know a little something about that.
Those of us who know, we just know. I will say, if I'm stealing, I would probably go for a better quality wine than the box wine, but that's just me. But, bottles are heavier. You can't get as much, the boxes, it's more quantity over quality.
Yeah.
Never mind. I changed back. I get the box wine now.
He was being economic or whatever, I guess. But, there was a little more on here. He then walked to the table where he was found. He is currently being charged with felony burglary. Court documents indicate he currently had 5 theft cases pending in municipal court. Wow. So apparently this guy kept trespassing at this grocery store and stealing things.
Dang.
Wow.
So he's like a cartoon character situation.
Really
it's
is,
like,
yeah.
you again? And he's like, well, this time I swear I was asleep.
I was asleep this time, so... Actually, if I've done this 5 times, it's more on you guys, really. You guys should know better by now. You know I'm going to do this. So shame on me once, shame on you twice, whatever that is. It's kind of your fault at this point, 5 times.
Yes. How did he even make it into the wine aisle? Like, what?
I know.
Yeah, he should have had like a secret shopper stalker person the whole time. But all these are very cartoony situations, I feel like.
I know,
They
really are.
We've been making this game really scary and all this stuff, but even if you don't get number 5 right, I think you are the biggest winner.
Seriously.
Anybody else would have had to have split it with another host or something, and you took down 4 on your own, so...
I'm pretty proud of that.
No matter where this goes.
You need any sleep crimes investigated, call me.
It'll be like Longlegs, but for sleep crime.
Yeah. Maybe I am Longlegs for sleep crimes. Maybe that's my secret.
Ooh. Okay, number 5. On February 22nd of 2022, Louisiana man Christopher Samuel was accused of trying to enter multiple vehicles by a witness. The suspect was then able to break into a 1994 Chevrolet truck where he was caught by authorities. Christopher's excuse for entering the truck was sleepwalking. How far away was the home he said he was walking from while sleeping? Is it A, more than 20 miles away, B, more than 7 miles away, or C, more than 3 miles away?
I really want it to be A because that's the funniest answer. But I'm going to say B.
We finally tricked her.
Am I streak over? Dang.
I made it the least impressive one just to be a little tricky.
That is tricky. That was good.
I still
think you've won. You've won. You are the winner.
Yeah, 3 in a row is already impressive to me.
Yes.
When cops confronted Samuel, he admitted entering the pickup, but said he did so because he was sleepwalking. Despite that explanation, Samuel was arrested and booked into a local jail. The maximum he was to face was 12 years in prison. It did not indicate what he got in the end, though.
Aww.
Yeah, it didn't say anywhere online. I was like, dang it, I kind of wanted to know what he got charged with, but...
That poor Chevy owner, too. Like, as someone who drives kind of a shitty car, when you drive kind of an old shitty car, you're like, I'm safe. No one's breaking into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then it happens in the fucking weirdest way, too. So, sorry, Chevy owner. I know you thought you were safe.
That's a really, really good point.
At least it was for a crime that was a funny story.
That's true.
Yeah. When I was making these, again, I had no idea the sleepwalking was such a prevalent excuse. And a lot of these stories, I was like, ooh, I could write a whole story about this.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, I've heard of murder cases that they're like, I was sleepwalking. That's why I stabbed my wife 76 times.
I know.
Officer.
It's a fear of mine. I'm a really weird sleeper. I talk in my sleep. I used to walk in my sleep. Do you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like really weird. People always tell me all the things I say. And so I'm always like, could I commit a crazy crime when I'm asleep? And, like I'm always afraid of that. I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, I don't think so either. As someone who has like weird sleep, yeah, I'm a sleep screamer too. Oh, that's fun for anyone who's slept in the same room as me. As someone who has had weird sleep, I'm like, I don't think I could just get up and go commit a crime.
I know.
Like, I just don't think so. I remember I had a girl I went to school with who claimed she was a sleepwalker and she like got up and drove her parents' car for a few miles and then drove back. after she realized she was sleep driving.
Oh.
I still think she was making it up for attention. But as soon as I heard that car crank, I think I'd be like, oh my God, where am I? You know, or like opening the front door even. Like I know I have walked to the front door when I was a kid. And as soon as I got to the front door, it was like, oh, well, I got to go back to bed.
Right. I never escaped the house or anything. I would lock myself in the bathroom on accident when I was asleep, but I still somehow got out, my parents said. I don't know, but people are claiming some crazy things while sleepwalking. Well, you know what isn't crazy, Trevin?
Is it listening to ads for your leisure?
Absolutely. Here's some ads, everyone.
And we are back. And this week, I'm not going at all. I'm actually taking the week off because I've got a Halloween project that I'm working on and I need some time away from writing. And so we're just going to get two, but we get Shelby and Amanda here.
I am so excited, you guys. I am going first this week, and then we will save the best for last, and we will share Shelby's story with you all and discuss that too. For this story, it is a story from the news, and it was one of those situations, you know, Trevin and I have done a ton of these, and I was kind of going through the list of different petty criminal things. We've done a lot of burglaries, you know, certain things, and I was like, ooh, this is one I haven't done in a very long time, and I found the perfect news story to share with you all. So I will not build this up any longer. Let me go ahead and jump in, and here we go. Deep down, we all just want to look cool. The motivation and intensity vary among all us posers, depending on our phase in life. Perhaps you're from an older generation and trying to connect with younger coworkers by using hip lingo.
Thanks for placing that group Chipotle order for the office, Shannon. Very demure, very mindful.
Or possibly, you're an insecure and hormonal teenager practicing your pickup lines in the mirror.
Darling, are you a magnet? Because you're sure attracting me.
Or maybe you're hustling for your passions, all while raising precious kiddos like me. Yet, even your greatest accomplishments go unnoticed. Hey kids, look! Mommy's podcast was interviewed and published in a magazine, and I made you this meal from scratch. It's tough to look cool. Achieving coolness is even more complicated for those with petty intentions. Which brings me to the story I have for you all today. Ever since Jimbo was a little tot, he idolized tough-looking movie stars in action films. His young brain admired the strength it took to fight off enemies and the muscles it took to make up for their emotional unavailability to women.
Lower my self-esteem, you hard-boiled hunk.
Besides all that, there was a moment in these movies that always blew Jimbo's mind, and that was when the main character would detonate a fiery explosion, only to walk away uninterested in the opposite direction. Even as a young adult living near the city of Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, Jimbo remembered the scenes vividly. He often thought of the stone-cold expression on Denzel Washington's face after walking away from a man on fire in the 2004 film, Man on Fire. His character made being an ex-CIA operative turned bodyguard for a 9-year-old look so cool. Then, there was Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the 2009 X-Men origin movie, Wolverine. His character rocked a leather jacket, thick mutton chops, and long metal claws as he angrily swiped at the ground and created a flame. Wolverine continued to strut away without a care in the universe as a helicopter exploded in a wall of flames behind him. Again, looking super cool. Yet, in 2022, Jimbo found himself in a life quite opposite of an action-packed box office hit. He was currently in between jobs, in between relationships, and in between appearing totally desperate and pathetic beyond repair. The only small bit of happiness in his life came from spending time with his best friend, Dudley. Although Dudley wasn't the brightest bulb, he was the most consistent and carefree guy Jimbo knew.
I'm consistently making dumb choices, but I'm okay with that.
The friends often spent their time getting drunk and playing video games, with the occasional night out at a bar. Yet, on an evening in early March, the boys drank at home, due to the fact they were both currently unemployed. Vodka and Red Bulls were poured and quickly consumed in between rounds of a zombie apocalypse video game. Jimbo's character found himself surrounded by half-dead creatures as he stood atop an abandoned old school bus, but he had a plan. The crowd of socially awkward and hungry zombies continued to grow around him, looking like they would swallow him up whole. But just as it appeared his character had run out of options, he reached into his artificially designed jacket and pulled out a digitally enhanced bomb.
Nuh-uh! No way, man! You're gonna do the big one on top of that bus, aren't ya?
You know it, buddy.
It was then his character detonated the bomb. He ran in slow motion, off the bus and onto the sea of skulls standing close by, when the bomb exploded. His character rode the wave of hot winds out of the zombie mosh pit, leaving the living dead and the bus they gathered around eviscerated. The AI version of himself that Jimbo created kept walking away with a serious and stoic face, never once looking back at the carnage he ignited.
Hell yeah, man! Just like in the movies!
Dudley yelled out in excitement. Jimbo grinned with pride until he realized it was all just a game. Maybe it was the copious amount of ingested vodka, or the equally consumed amount of Red Bull, but this just wasn't good enough for Jimbo.
I've spent my whole life looking up to those action stars who've started fires and walked away from them. Tonight is the night I start my own fire. Tonight is my night to look cool.
The two drunken friends determined that they would light Dudley's drug dealer's car on fire to achieve Jimbo's lifelong dream. After all, his dealer did owe Dudley for some bad shrooms, and because of his drug dealer profession, he was less likely to call the cops about it. They continued to drink as they found a large 5-gallon plastic gas can in their garage and gathered some extra t-shirts to use as masks. The dealer's house was within walking distance, so Dudley snapped on his backwards cap and Jimbo slipped on his black thong sandals and grabbed the gas can. There was no stopping them now as the boys stumbled toward the future scene of a crime.
Are you sure this is where your dealer lives?
Jimbo asked as he huffed and puffed. His flip-flop pops snapped aggressively on his clumsy feet, with his upper body struggling to hold the large gas container.
Yeah, man. Just up the hill and over that black metal fence,
Dudley reported back, casually. Making things even more physically and emotionally difficult for himself, Jimbo decided to use his other hand, not carrying the gas, to drunk dial his stunning ex-girlfriend, Elizabeth Kay.
Hey, smartphone, call my future wife.
He was certain that if she knew what he was currently doing, she'd want him back.
I told you never to contact me again, Jimbo.
Hey, Elizabeth, I'm actually about to go light a drug dealer's car on fire right now. No big deal, but in all honesty, it might look pretty cool.
Let me guess, you're drunk with Dudley again, wearing your dorkiest khaki shorts and cringiest feet thongs?
Jimbo paused to look down at his current attire, accurately matching her vicious descriptions.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Try not to burn off one of your own eyebrows, you weirdo. Consider yourself blocked.
And with that, the call was dropped, but that didn't mean Jimbo put his cell phone down from his face. He kept it there for a while longer, hoping that his ex-lover would come back. All the while, he and Dudley scaled the metal fence ungracefully, then wrapped their faces with the extra t-shirts they brought. Jimbo finally put his cell back in his pocket, and they looked around the apartment parking garage. Dudley squinted his intoxicated face to look at the parked vehicles, lit only by moonlight. After a while of searching, Jimbo was losing what little patience he possessed.
Which car is it, dude? I'm ready for my moment.
Jimbo stated drunkenly, reverting back to his toddler-like sassiness.
Oh my god, man. I think that's his whip right behind you.
This one?
Jimbo asked, pointing at the seemingly innocent white 2019 Honda Civic parked just over his shoulder.
Yeah!
Jimbo immediately heaved a couple of weak splashes of gasoline onto the back of the car and the cement behind the bumper. Dudley swayed as he stepped closer to the rear of the vehicle and opened his eyes to get a more definitive look.
Hey man, I don't think this is the right car.
Yet it was too late. Jimbo had already lit the trail of fuel leading to the targeted Honda Civic. In a flash, flames surrounded Dudley, lighting some of his leg hair on fire.
Oh shit, that's hot!
Dudley put out his singed body hair and took off running, looking at his best friend. The flames were building in temperature and stature behind them, and Dudley knew this was the moment Jimbo had dreamt of all his life. Although it wasn't in full slow motion, and his flip-flops weren't great running shoes, Jimbo ran with a stoic facial expression. He swung the gas container awkwardly as he ran down the steep hill in front of the powerful flame ball he created. All he had to do was finish strong. He just had to make it down the cement driveway in one piece.
Whoa!
Dudley squealed out in fear before toppling into the hard pavement. To make his fall even worse, the pavement he fell on was right in front of Jimbo. Dudley's body placement was perfect for a speed bump, putting an abrupt stop to his friend's special moment. This domino effect of toppling dummies sent the boys rolling down the hill, gas can and all. After flipping out the entire way down, Jimbo collected himself and the gas can as soon as he hit the street. He stretched his neck briefly, stood up, and looked at his clumsy accomplice, asking,
Well, did it look cool?
On March 2nd, 2022, around 12:55 a.m., CCTV footage picked up two unidentified men breaking into a gated residential complex in Nerang, a small town and suburb in the city of Gold Coast, Queensland. The pair made it into the parking lot, with one of the men speaking to an unknown caller on his cell phone for most of the way. Once inside, they approached a white 2019 Honda Civic belonging to a 32-year-old female apartment resident. The thong sandal-wearing culprit clumsily doused the car in gasoline as his accomplice stepped forward, taking a closer look at the vehicle. Without noticing, the thonged criminal lit the gasoline on fire, surprising both arsonists with its explosion. The bumbling bros then turned and ran from the crime scene, only it wasn't a perfect getaway. While running, the two crossed paths, causing both to stumble and roll down a steep cement hill. The thonged man grabbed the gas can and sprinted down the road in one direction. His accomplice panicked, running away from the other suspect, then turning around to go the same way, and finally turning back around again to run in the opposite direction. The fire destroyed the Honda and damaged another vehicle, a yellow 2004 Mitsubishi Colt, belonging to a 28-year-old male resident that was parked next to it. Detective Senior Sergeant Mark Proctor was quoted theorizing on the arson attack, saying,
I dare say they targeted that particular vehicle, but given their other actions, I wouldn't be surprised if they got it wrong. They do appear to be either alcohol affected or just plain, I don't want to go there.
The two arsonists have never been identified publicly, with QLD police asking for anyone with any information to come forward. Looking cool isn't as easy as it sounds, especially when fire is involved. If you have the burning desire for coolness, try out some new mysterious sunglasses, or work on not giving a fuck. Because if you're not careful on your quest to look cool, it can all blow up in your face.
So before I have your guys' reactions to this, can I please give a special shout out to Elizabeth K., who is a felony level on our Patreon, and the lovely Shelby played you as a character today.
I did. Hi, Elizabeth.
You did so good, Shelby. You're a natural.
Thank you. I just pulled out all the Californian and Valley girlness inside of me.
You did, but it was perfect for the character. She needed to put Jimbo in his place, okay?
Yeah.
Also, can I just say that right now, currently on our Patreon list of names to choose from, guys, I am fresh out of Min. So I had to make up Jimbo and Dudley because these were unidentified. They still haven't caught them. To my knowledge, it wasn't posted anywhere. So I had to create a reason and a storyline for why that one guy was on the phone for so much of the breaking in, hence why I brought in Elizabeth. So yeah, we need some more guys to join our Patreon.
If not, you ladies are going to start being men in stories.
Seriously. But what did you guys think about this? I have to show you the video. I'm going to post the video on our social media when this comes out.
I cannot wait to see the video because, oh my God.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like one of those crimes that was going to be a video-based crime. The way you were like, oh, and they toppled and fell. I'm like, oh, I bet there's a video.
Yep.
The fact that they haven't been identified is kind of hilarious.
It's crazy because they have still snapshots of the guys and their faces before they put the extra T-shirts around their face as a mask, which I'm like, can you guys have gotten an actual mask? I don't know. But they have their faces completely captured, climbing over the fence, both of them. And yeah, still nobody's turned them in.
And like them waiting until they got there to put the T-shirts over their faces. Like,
yeah. They're walking and climbing and breaking in for a while before they put the T-shirts on.
Time for incognito mode.
I know. And I didn't exaggerate the part where he barely, I mean, he has like the most gigantic gas can, like a big one.
Yeah.
And he is like, ugh, and like barely gets a tiny little splash of gas on the car. I'm surprised it even destroyed the car.
You know, gas is expensive these days. So
Yeah.
That's true. He was probably just saving it. The officer, for saying that they looked drunk, it looked that way. They were kind of stumbly. I mean, lighting the gas when your friend is leaning in looking at the car. And there was no connection between the woman who saw the footage was like, I have no idea who these idiots are who lit my car on fire. So they assumed they lit the wrong car on fire.
Wow.
that would be so perplexing. Imagine that woman. She's like, oh no, is it like a scary ex or something? And then she sees the video and it's like, I don't know who this is.
Some random drunken thong-sandaled idiots. Like, what? I obviously don't know if this guy had like a real lifelong dream of walking away from an explosion, but he just seemed like the type to me.
I can see
Yeah.
that. The video game part totally works because, again, it feels like they thought they got to a point of the level where then they are like incognito mode. Now it's time to put on your extra T-shirt. Not thinking you need that the whole time.
I know. The video game thing felt right to me too. I mean, obviously I don't know what they were doing, but it just all felt very real to me.
You made them both seem like the perfect little dumb twosome, like Beavis and Butthead sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
a couple of fools.
That is a good point. I'm glad you pointed that out because in some of the articles, they were quoted as the Dumb and Dumber arsonist because of them falling at the end. So,
Okay, see, there we go.
yeah, I'm just feeling really cartoony today, you know?
I love
It
it.
does seem that way, but at the same time, it makes total sense that people of this foolish caliber would just, maybe be inspired by a video game or want to go, I think today I'm going to go be Hugh Jackman.
We can't all be Hugh Jackman, everyone, okay?
Only one man can harness that power.
That's so true. So are we ready for our listeners to hear Shelby's petty crime story?
I hope you like it.
We are.
Oh my God. Do you have anything you want to say before they listen or should we just chat after?
Just after, yeah.
I love it. Well, here is Shelby's story.
Let me tell you about the time I cheated an airline. Just a little bit. This story happened a few years ago. I had gone on a trip with my now ex-husband, my parents, and my ex-in-laws to New Orleans. I had been to New Orleans several times, but it was the first time my parents had ever been, and I was incredibly stoked to see the city through their eyes.
I'm sweating through my shoes.
During this trip, my ex and I weren't exactly rolling in it, money-wise. We had flown there on the cheapest airline that will remain unnamed, and while there, we really had to watch our spending to an embarrassing degree. But I had saved up a little bit of cash to get a few souvenirs while we were there, namely a few bottles of hot sauce for some very dear friends of ours who frequently hosted us for dinner at their house. Now, my ex-husband was incredibly absent-minded. He was constantly losing things like wallets, sunglasses, keys, his wedding ring, even a whole suitcase one time.
Who keeps losing my shit?
It was really frustrating. This trip had turned out pretty well, but it had major stresses, and by the end, I was tired and looking forward to going home. There's a reason half the people in this story have the word X in front of their descriptions. So, the trip is over, we get to the airport, and I had reminded my ex that the hot sauce bottles couldn't go through TSA and to make sure to put them in our checked bag.
You're gonna move those, right?
He had been carrying them in his backpack.
If there's one person you can trust, it's your husband.
At this point in our marriage, I was still naive enough to trust him. It will be no surprise to the listener that, sure enough, we got up to TSA, and there in his backpack were about 5 or 6 full-sized bottles of hot sauce I had spent my very meager souvenir savings on to do something nice for friends who were always so generous to us. I watched in horror as the TSA agent took them out of the paper bag from the shop I'd purchased them in and threw every single one in the trash. The final kick in the teeth was the TSA agent smugly asking if we wanted to keep the now empty paper bag as a souvenir instead.
It's still a great bag.
I silently walked away as my ex sheepishly took the bag from the agent and we made our way to our gate. I'll save you from the boring details of the ensuing argument, although those who have been in frustrating relationships can probably fill in the little details themselves. But it was in that moment when I was also met with the information that the shitty airline we had booked was about to require us to pay $70 each for our carry-ons.
Pay us or go on a road trip with your family.
Now, this particular airline is known for nickel and diming their customers, and by now, I can't remember if this was when they first started doing this or if we had just forgotten in all the travel stress or what. But one thing was for sure. I was not about to hand these people $140 for 2 bags that fit under my seat. So, I told my ex to hand me his backpack. I had an oversized purse, and I also had a very big coat. Both of these bags together were crazy heavy, but I had angry adrenaline running through my veins, so here comes our boarding time.
All aboard!
I grab both bags with one arm, lay the giant coat over my arm along with another jacket one of us had brought, and turn my forearm into a bar of steel. As we stood in line, I watched about a handful of people in front of us be pulled from the line in order to pay for their carry-ons.
Excuse me, but I'm about to ruin your day.
All of them were angry and shocked, but had no choice but to take that short walk of shame and hand over their credit cards.
It's better this than a road trip, am I right?
I was sure they were going to catch me. I'm sure I did not look very sly holding these 2 full-sized bags under a pile of coats on my arm. So as I got up to the gate attendant, I prepared my speech for when they inevitably called me out for trying to smuggle bags onto the airplane. My anxiety made up scenarios where I'd be put on the no-fly list forever and never be able to fly anywhere ever again. That or be slapped with some $50,000 fine or something.
Straight to jail.
I hand the person at the gate my boarding pass. My arm at this point felt like it was going to be ripped away from my shoulder. It had started involuntarily shaking as well. But I held on and tried to look as nonchalant as possible.
Enjoy your flight.
Lo and behold, though many before me had been forced to pay the $70 fee, I was not. I had, in a very small way, beat a very small part of the system and walked onto the plane, staving off the nervous breakdown that had been brewing in my head for another day. My shoulder was so sore for a while after that, but it was so worth it to feel that private little victory over sky-high greed.
Okay, Shelby.
Yes.
First and foremost, I've already said this, but I have to say it again. Your voice is so angelic.
Thank you.
And during this story, one of the main things I just kept thinking over and over again, I was like, her voice. I mean, thank goodness you're a podcaster.
You're really doing the world a service.
You really are.
Thank you.
Also, can I just say, I am personally offended that somebody would just throw hot sauce away like that in an airport.
Thank you. I was livid. It was one of my top 5 livid in public moments in my life. Oh my God.
Understandably. Chips and salsa is like my favorite food. I also love hot sauce. And I also felt your pain in the moment when you were explaining that this was a gift for friends that you've known and loved, and they've had you over for dinner, and you just wanted to get them something with the little bit of cash that you gathered, which I can relate to as well.
And it was one of those moments in life, like, I don't want to talk too much into it, but we shouldn't have been going on the trip. But my ex was always thought we had more money than we did because he was the one spending it all, you know? And so it was like one of those things where I was even stressed about going on the trip at all. And we were like really strapped, but these friends of ours always had us over for like D&D and game nights and stuff. And they were always like hosting us, and like other people too, but they're foodies. So also, these hot sauces were really unique. Like there was one that's like a clear hot sauce.
Whoa.
It looked like water, but it was a hot sauce. And so I had like set aside my little bit of money to like buy these really cool, unique hot sauces that I'd never seen anywhere but New Orleans. So it was not even just like I bought a bottle of Crystal, you know, something you can get somewhere else. It was like all very unique, and it was curated. So it was like this firestorm of being broke and being in a bad relationship, and then having my hot sauces thrown away, and having the TSA be so smug about it.
Yeah, to offer the bag back.
Yeah.
And you could just see the joy on his face. Like this was the best part of his day, was when someone fucked up and they got to like throw something away. You could just see it. And the trash can he had in front of him had other stuff in it from other people this had happened to. It was infuriating.
Honestly, I wonder if that's his like little private stash, like that little bag of trash, you know?
Yeah.
Like he digs through it.
100%. In fact, that's exactly what my mom said, because we were still like, my parents were at the airport too. And after we went through and they saw that I was just furious, my mom was like, I bet they just take that trash bag home at the end of the night and like divvy up whatever's in it. She had this whole theory, and oh God, it was so bad. I didn't even put into the story the part where my dad walked up and was like, you know, it's just hot sauce. It's really not a big deal. And my mom was like, don't. Just leave her, right? Because I was just like blackout fuming. I remember my dad approaching me like, it's just hot sauce. And my mom being like, not now. Not now. Let's just go.
Turn around and walk the other direction. This hot sauce is basically a representation of my entire blood, sweat, and tears bottled up.
Exactly.
Like, sorry, Dad.
Exactly.
This is a big deal. No, I hear you. Dads are always doing that kind of shit. They're like, oh, I know what'll make him feel better. Just tell him that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, just some folksy wisdom about how it's just hot sauce.
It's like, Dad, not the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I had to know. So did you have like a gigantic coat?
I was actually going to have that because I still have the coat. I was going to hold it out. It actually is. It's like, it almost looks like a dress when I'm wearing it. It's kind of a weird coat. Like whenever I wear it, people always say it looks like something from Star Wars. Like it's double breasted at the top, and then it kind of flares out at the bottom and goes almost to like my knees. It's like a weird, like cool coat, and it's big. So yes, It was a very big coat. Yes.
Okay. I was trying to picture. I was like, what kind of coat? Like,
what kind of
did she have a trench coat on hand that she was?
Yeah, it basically is.
Kind of though.
Yeah.
And then also, I hope that even though maybe you never gave these friends hot sauce again, like maybe that ship sailed, but did you at least tell your friends? Like, was it at least the thought that counted to them?
I did. And you know, it's so funny that this all came up because those friends, because of my ex. I had disconnected from them for a while.
That happens.
And we just within the last like 2 weeks reconnected. Like
nice.
Literally like a week or two ago, we just had lunch for the first time in years. And I'm going to their house next weekend for D&D. I don't think I ever told them this whole story, and I'm going to tell them. And I can't wait for this episode to come out to be like, that's you guys. That was about you guys.
Oh my gosh. What are their names? Give them a little shout out.
Tony and Danielle. Hi, Tony and Danielle.
Oh, Tony and Danielle. The hot sauce that could have been.
And I want it too. The clear hot sauce sounds so cool.
Right? It was so cool. I didn't even get to try it. I was like so excited to try it. They make like little mini bottles, and I bought one of those. Like, well, I'm going to get myself a little one to try out, and into the trash it went.
The heartbreak. I felt it. I felt it so hard. I'm so sorry for your loss of the hot sauce. Truly, because that is devastating and cruel. Like, I'm sorry. He had to have taken it home because no one's going to be that happy about doing that.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
I've been in similar situations when I try to sneak into a concert and have a closed bottle of alcohol on my person or something like that, you know, trying to save some money. And there's always that whole panic of watching them throw away the alcohol that you tried to sneak or just like chugging it in their face.
Yeah.
Was there a part of you that thought about just chugging that hot sauce down to still keep it for yourself?
You know, it was one of those moments where time slows down, and I'm like, no, this can't happen. Like, I'm going to take that hot sauce somehow. And yeah, I think part of me really thought about, honestly, not chugging it, but like smashing it. Like, part of me wanted to go feral and just smash it on the tile and just like, oh, guess none of us get hot sauce then. But I didn't, because I want to be able to fly again in my lifetime.
God, yeah. I could see a part of my feral self also being like, fine, I'm just going to smash this and we're all going to cry because the pepper is going to come up from the floor and ooze into our pores. Ha 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 ha. But also, I'm glad you didn't do that because you probably would have been arrested.
Yeah.
So was the vacation itself good leading up to that? Or was the vacation, I can't remember if you said that, was the vacation also stressful?
It was good, but it was very stressful. Again, like I said in the story, there's a reason why half the people involved are ex now.
Yeah.
So it was stressful on like a lot of different levels, but it was still good.
Well, that's good.
There's always going to be a little level of stress when you're on a trip and you're thinking about how poor you are, though, you know? Like, I've definitely been there, done that. And like, yeah, you can have fun, but like in the back of your mind, you're like, God, I'm so poor. I hope it's all going to work out. You know?
Oh, yeah. That. And then like you're kind of in this relationship where you're like, this isn't.
Like, this isn't even fun. What the fuck?
And my ex-in-laws, they could be a lot. I'll be diplomatic and just say they could be a lot.
And then you had to deal with the stress of feeling like you were almost like a little drug dealer smuggling bags, you know, not drugs, but like luggage into the plane.
Yeah, that was the part of the feralness. It was, you know, the airlines, the whole nickel and dime thing. Like I said, this was quite a while ago. It was like probably 6 years ago. Airlines like had always done this. I can't remember if it was just new or if I had forgotten in all the stress of everything. But like a ton of people in line ahead of us were also just like, they're like, you got to pay us the $70, $75. And so many people were like pissed. And because they didn't realize, because it's like for any carry-on, we didn't have like the suitcase carry-ons, like just a bag. Like I think one woman literally had like a purse and they were like, that's your carry-on. You go to the counter. And they were just being like super extra at this time. And I was like, this is where I draw the line. No, I will not pay. Again, $140 cumulative dollars for my fucking bag that I should be able to carry on this plane.
Right.
I'm not even going to put it in the overhead compartment. It's going in the seat in front of me. Like, no.
You're totally justified in our book. Totally beyond justified. I mean, come on. Especially when people are traveling and they've planned right in their head, like, oh, I've planned for these expenses. And then when an extra one comes up and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could see how the whole crowd.
You know, your younger days when you're broke, like $140 is huge. Oh my God. That is such a big, like that was at the time such a huge expense. Like we can't do this. Like, no. And yeah, I just remember my arm feeling like it was going to fall off. I just held it like basically up to like kind of towards my chest and like out a little bit. I had one Schwarzenegger arm for like a couple weeks, basically.
And your ex didn't offer to carry it?
He didn't want to do the sneaky thing?
No.
Did he think it would look too suspicious with the coat, or was he just being
honestly, I think I wasn't speaking to him at that moment because he had forgotten about the hot sauces. I think I honestly was like not speaking to him because he was, again, I put in there, he's very absent-minded. So I was kind of at my limit with these little fuck-ups that would like ruin our whole day.
You're like, I can do this myself.
Yeah, I think I was literally just like, don't talk to me until we get back to California. Like, you're not allowed to talk to me in any time zone but the Pacific time zone, and we're not in that yet. So
plus, I think at that point it would have been really foolish on your part to have put it back in his hands to get you out of the situation that he kind of put you in.
No. You rocked it. You're the MVP. Well, what a fun episode. We are so lucky to have you with us today, Shelby. Do you want to let our listeners know if they haven't already found you? Is there a best spot you like people to listen or to follow along?
I mean, just find me. It's on every podcast app, whatever one you prefer. Scare You to Sleep. And you can find me through my socials at Scary to Sleep on Instagram and Twitter. You can find my personal accounts at Shelby B. Novak on Twitter and Instagram. And all of those have a link tree to all of this stuff. So, yeah.
Nice. Yes, everyone definitely give her a listen. Like you said, you do not have to be asleep. You don't even have to be sleepy at all. You can listen wide awake if you'd like. Yeah. And let me tell you, you have to hear more of this voice, okay?
Yes. And she does such great sound effects and atmosphere and everything. You were one of the first podcasts that I had listened to before I even decided to get into podcasts, just because
that's awesome.
I wasn't really into the medium that much. Amanda was the one that told me to check it out. And yeah, it was, you and Let's Not Meet were the two that I would actually listen to.
Oh, my friend Andy. And it's so funny. We started around the same time. We've been podcast friends for years. Like, we're like each other's oldest pod buddies. So that's so cool to hear.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, the immersiveness, the sound effects, it's like the one thing we really have in common with our shows. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's one thing that drew me to your show too, is like you're using the same techniques but in a funny way, and it's so fun. Like, we're both doing different sides of old-timey radio. Basically, we're just different. You know, on the hour you get this and then you get this, and
yep, that's exactly what it is. Well, thank you again, Shelby, and I hope that everyone listening is just having the best week. And remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end we're all doomed to shit.
Doomed to shit.
I dropped it this time.
Doomed to be scared asleep?
Yeah, we'll take that.
There you go. Bye.
See ya.
Hey, wake up! We didn't mean to scare you asleep. And thank you for listening to our show. If you'd like any bonus content, ad-free episodes, and just additional fun shit, head over to our Patreon.
And don't be a smelly anus. Follow us on social media and have a conversation with us already. Find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads. Live, Laugh, Larceny.
And have you ever smuggled anything through TSA? I know you have, you petty criminals. Send us your stories to livelaughlarceny@gmail.com.
And give our show the same rating we would give Shelby's angelic voice. 5 shining stars. Please rate us wherever you rate podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or Good Pods.
Your character will be it's a very small part, but it's very important. Okay?
That's what they always say.
Nipples.